You're on in 3, 2, 1.
This is Packard Pokset, and I'm poking at your news. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another fine edition of Packard Pokset. I am your immutable and unmutable host, Packard Sonic, although I am technically inclined sometimes. I've had a small myriad of problems this evening, but we've seemed to have them corrected now. Oh, but we're starting very late than we normally do, but hey, on the show, nothing we do new that doesn't get us a little screwed up here and there. But anyway, joining us tonight from the far left is Dan, Rel Unrelated Johnson.
I'm over here.
We can just barely see him. No, just kidding. And up over on the west coast is Medusa Rants.
Ranting and raving from the west coast for all to hear.
Yes. And join us over on the far, far east coast is Joe Unseen.
Sometimes I don't even see myself.
See, this is why we have to have that picture for you, because you're like one of those vampire people, right?
Actually, mirrors do work for me. I can see myself in the mirror.
Oh, that's cool. It's just cameras you can't, right? You got that camera thing going on.
Contrary to popular belief, I do show up in the visible spectrum.
Yeah, was that where? Okay, I'll have to remember that.
You'll have to prove it.
Sure. Okay, well, let's get on to our first topic for this evening. Now, if you've ever watched a lot of science fiction shows, you like Star Trek or whatever, you sometimes see people hook something into their brain, or hook something up to their neck, or up to the top of their head, so they can like wire into the brain. This has always been just science fiction. Well, Samsung thinks they've got this mind reading implant down so far. Now they've got special sensors that go into the fingertips of the hand and on the head, or maybe, I don't know, somewhere in the head, so they can read brain waves or whatever. So you can, I guess, so the things for this would be for medical reasons, so if you can know if you're going to have a stroke, I guess, or you're going to have a heart attack, or something. It's monitoring the body. So if you're going to have something like this, just imagine in a few years, if they get the technology right, maybe we could just say, buy Samsung, don't buy Apple anymore. Or get your brain hacked, so you want to go rob a bank, you get home, and you think, I've been sleeping the whole time, I don't know what they're talking about. That's, of course, in the far future, but this is kind of a cool technology. Your thoughts on this, Dan?
Yeah, I think that's really cool, especially people that have ongoing issues with extremely high blood pressure, that sort of thing. Your only sign that you're going to have a stroke usually is when it's already too late.
Yeah.
If someone that is prone to that kind of thing could have a medical sensor embedded that could automatically notify them or their healthcare professional that there's an issue and you need to get to the emergency room right now.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. Very much a life-saving kind of thing. As anything goes, though, I hate to see this type of thing be used nefariously to monitor someone against their will, or to secretly monitor them by someone who shouldn't be, that kind of things. Encryption is necessary, but it's very cool tech.
Yeah. Could you imagine if in a husband and wife situation? It's like, yeah, I was at work. Sure you were. Let's check the brainwave pattern. I was watching the whole time. I saw what you were doing, and you should be ashamed of yourself buying at Sears. No, I'm just kidding. Totally kidding, Sears. Totally kidding. But to see your thoughts.
You totally wiped my thoughts out. I have no thoughts now. Uh, well, it's a cool device. I like it. Uh, Technology usually isn't my bag. Usually suck at this part, but you know, if you've got somebody who needs to take medication at a certain time every day, that's really important, and
Mm-hmm.
that would be a really great function for that. What about checking up on your parents who have Alzheimer's or dementia? People do get lost. You can track them that way, tracking your kids when they're out playing,
I think I see a lot of problems with the tracking issue, just from the people who want to, or protect
Oh, yeah.
our privacy rights groups would be all over that one.
Oh, parents will be all over it though too. With toddlers. Oh, sure.
Yeah,
They'll go nuts for that type of a matrix scenario.
yeah.
Um,
Of course,
and that's the only thing that worries me.
of course,
The, the
the other thing is that, the religious people say, see, this is a sign of the beast. We're all getting marked and put into the computers now. Whatever.
Are they worried about that too? Stick to the Bible. That's complicated enough for them.
Yeah, yeah, no kidding. Joe, your thoughts?
I think Samsung is too late on this. Google already reads our minds by tracking our search requests.
Yeah, that's true.
Bingo. Shawing.
But yeah, this is a cool device for for the same reasons, medical detecting strokes and stuff. That's a good idea.
Mhm.
But what do you do when the new model comes out? Do they cut your skull open again?
Oh, yeah,
Oh, God.
yeah. That's
And I really don't
Morbid.
get the sensors in your fingertips, because like we have video games now where you don't even need to hold a controller anymore.
yeah, that's true. I don't know. Maybe it's another form of interface where you can you like shock the keyboard or special thing where it just read your biometrics a little bit
Help
faster.
you
Maybe
get
it's like
into
like
prison
an
quicker.
interface. Of course, what would you do if you only had like 3 fingers? So. On to our next story here. Now, another thing, sign of the future, that the sign of the future has come finally. Uh, and if you really wanted to get away from it all, you could go do some mining. And I don't mean underground. I mean out in space. They're apparently working on it's mining asteroids. Now they've actually got this where they're working on this. It's the X Prize Foundation has Peter Diamond's an aerospace engineer. He's worked with several other people who are ultra uber rich, and they're working on ways to go out into space, capture these asteroids, and bring them back so they can mine them. I mean, there's a lot of minerals out in outer space. It's like we're living in a supermarket, and we just have not seen the rest of the store. It's like the new Super Walmart just moved in, and the only part you've seen is the shoe department. So now we've got all this extra materials out there to bring back to our own planet. Uh, Platinum, for one, is supposedly quite an abundance that you can find in just a one asteroid versus everything that's just in the United States alone. Dan, your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, this has been part of science fiction, space science fiction for, many decades, mining the asteroids for their mineral wealth. And, that kind of thing could definitely be a big boon, especially rare earth minerals that are currently being mined in a lot of places in Africa that have a lot of very negative connotations as far as human rights go. If we had a readily available source of some of those minerals where we didn't have to worry about that kind of issue going on, that'd be very, very cool.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I can imagine in sometime even in a further future that we'll actually be standing on these asteroids and mining away at these, and not just retrieving them and bringing them back. Medusa, your thoughts?
I agree with Dan.
Yay!
I don't know much about asteroids.
Well, they're
but I
big
agree
rocks
with
in
Dan.
space.
We can't keep on digging up the earth. We're not going to have a planet to live on anymore.
You mean we're gonna live in a planet that looks like Swiss cheese?
Exactly.
Ah.
So we must go to space, and I agree with Dan.
All right.
I'm all for it. It's going to add trillions of dollars to the global GDP. I am for it.
Absolutely. And
On that
they
that
say it's only
point
going to cost about
alone.
$2.6 billion, which is pretty cheap.
Not bad.
That is
Not bad at all.
well, it's still billions, but it's not like we're going to go and pay $100 to do it. But you know,
Well, we could soon.
who knows? Joe, your thoughts?
I also agree with Dan. This is really cool. And again, Google beat everyone else out as two of Google's CEOs are part of the project.
Yes, they did.
Indeed.
Yes. The article says mining asteroids is no longer a thing of science fiction, but I seem to remember them saying things like that in the 60s about like space hotels and stuff like that. Like, it's no longer a thing of science fiction. Where are the space hotels?
Where's my flying cars, damn it?
Exactly. Where's the moon base? So as soon as these
George
people start
Jetson.
actually mining asteroids, then I'll be like, woohoo!
Yeah. I still think it's coming. I won't say I have faith, but I have trust in our science that we will get this to actually happen at some point. I'm just wondering if one goes out of control and ends up in my backyard.
They were talking about bringing them to the moon first.
Oh, really?
Which I think is a good idea.
Yeah,
so.
I didn't see that part on there, but I may have missed it. But yeah, that would be kind of cool if they could do it, bring it to the moon and then bring it and then do the operations there.
Don't they also want to put a Pizza Hut on the moon?
There you go, pizza. That's a long way for delivery, I tell you. Let's get into our next topic.
Politics, 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 politics.
Now on the show, we've often cross-platform a lot of our topics. Now, happens to be one of those situations. Now, the government, a recent Senate bill known as Senate Bill 1813, known as MAP-21 or MAP 21, it says that in all vehicles starting in 2015, all vehicles will have to have an installed event data recorder or an EDR. Now, it's like a black box in a plane. So that way, when a car crashes, the last 10 seconds or so, 10 seconds, the last minute, I'm not sure exactly how much is actually recorded, but they don't record your whole trip. But they will, if there's an accident or something, it will record those last seconds. It'll stay secured, so that way when they go to checkout, say if you were speeding, or if there was if you braked quickly, or you swerved, or whatever, or you're just all over the road, it'll have all this data. It could potentially bring the cost of insurance down if you're a good driver, and up if you're a piss poor driver, like so many out there. Dan, your thoughts?
Yeah, I like this idea. It's like you said, it's going to end up reducing insurance costs for people as a whole, for all of us. And if you thought you could get away with saying, "Oh yeah, I had my headlights on when that happened," and it turns out you didn't.
Yep.
It's people aren't going to be able to get away with things, and if this is the way we have to go about it, that's the way it is.
Yeah.
This isn't. A lot of people will see this as an invasion of privacy,
Oh, yeah.
and I don't. Like you said, it's only going to keep track of the last 10 seconds or last 15 seconds of data going into it.
Yep.
And it's not going to be recording, what kind of music were you listening to, who was sitting in the passenger side and what were they wearing. No, nothing like that. It's just, physical information about the condition of the vehicle at the time of an incident.
Right. Or and it won't record what they weren't wearing at the time.
Yeah, exactly.
See,
I mean,
okay.
if it's recording audio, I mean, at the time of an accident, the last few seconds of audio may not be something that's suitable for broadcast over the radio.
I was thinking of that.
But I'll tell you one thing: if they build the black box like they in the car, like they do for planes, and it makes it out so no matter what happens, that black box stays in good shape, they should start making the rest of the car the same way. This way, it won't just disintegrate on contact. Medusa, your thoughts?
Well, it's just recording the last 10 seconds, of it's just intruding on the last 10 seconds of your life.
Yeah.
I agree with Dan on that point. It's going to make better drivers out of people, I hope, because people make, I hope I can say this on the air. Well, I'll say it differently. They make very poor witnesses.
Yes.
And when you're in an accident, it is very, very important to have the particulars down.
Yes.
And so I'm all for this technology. I think it'll make the road safer for all of us. I know I don't drive very far, and I don't slam on my brakes. I'm a good driver.
Mhm.
And if that lowers my premium, heck, put
Yeah.
one in my car.
Oh yeah,
Please.
I can see big businesses. A lot of big businesses are doing stuff like this already, and some of them
Mhm.
actually put cameras in the car. They or in their
Yeah.
in the not necessarily a car, but a truck or whatever, and they actually record the video of what the driver was doing. It's not
Mhm.
so much what he you can't see the driver, but you can see everything the driver was seeing at the time of a crash or an incident. And it records only like
Or-
the last 10 seconds or so.
Or if somebody was multitasking, curling their hair, putting on their eyeshadow, and cooking their breakfast burrito while they were driving
Yeah.
on their cell phone.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it might record that. I'm not really sure. Joe, your thoughts?
It's only a matter of time before this becomes standard on all cars. I mean, OnStar is already used for accident recreation. If you're in a car accident and you have OnStar,
Mm-hmm.
the police will plug a laptop into your car and they'll see how fast you were going when you applied the brakes, if you applied the brakes, things like that.
Yep.
So they can totally see that and use it against you in court. So I can totally see why people would think like this is an invasion of privacy.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it works
Well-
to your benefit if somebody else caused the accident, but it works against you if you cause the accident.
Right. Yeah, that's
Well, you have to subpoena those records, so
Yes.
there is an expectation of privacy up to a certain extent.
yeah. It
Mhm.
does say that if you're gonna have if they have these in there and they want to get the information, the records do have to be subpoenaed, which gives someone time to stick a piece of dynamite. No, just kidding. Don't want to do that. Don't want to do that.
Well, if you've seen the progressive car commercials, they have those devices that they're advertising like, hey, you'll save money if you plug this into your car. It's the same exact thing. They're paying attention to GPS, what road you're driving on, how fast you're driving on that road,
Mm-hmm.
and so they can see, like, were you speeding on your way to work that day?
Yeah.
And affect your car insurance and how much you pay based on that,
Oh yeah, absolutely. The bus company I used to work for, they didn't have this in there before, and when I went to go talk to them last year, they had just been taken over by another company, and they had put in these type of units into the school buses, so they can tell where they are, how fast they're driving, the whole 9 yards at any single glance. And I
Mhm.
think that's great because they've been needing that for a long time. Let's get it on to our next topic here. The GOP, they will glom onto anything negative against the president, even if it's not his fault. Even if he's not his fault. That the secret, if you've been following the news, the Secret Service was down in Brazil and they didn't want to pay a hooker about, I don't know, it's like $20 or whatever. So she went to the press and said, hey, they didn't pay me, and everything went to hell in a handcart. And the GOP is saying, this is the president's fault. See, he's degrading the whole country because the Secret Service, which he really has no control over, is doing all this nasty stuff. I've been watching this old show, The Wild Wild West, and always at the end you can always find this James and Artemis floozing around with these women, different women after every show, and they're working for the Secret Service. So I think maybe they've been watching too much of that show and getting ideas. Dan, your thoughts?
Yeah, the most ridiculous part of this particular story that I was looking at Alternet about this situation, the most ridiculous thing of all is the fact that Fox News and people that watch Fox News actually think that Sarah Palin has an opinion on this that really matters.
I saw that
Thank
too.
you, Dan.
Yep.
I mean,
That kills it right
Sarah
there.
Palin and Greta Van Susteren are talking about this, it's like, why does anyone actually care?
Yeah. I why does anybody care what Palin says? She's doing the job.
It's one of the agents was that has been given the boot now, as they should have been,
Yeah.
was assigned to her protection in 2008, and she's talking about how he checked her out, and it's like, you know what? I saw some photos of a couple of the prostitutes in Colombia. He wasn't checking you out, Sarah. He has much better taste than that.
When it comes
You
to
know,
hookers.
There is a photo.
it's a non-issue. The guy screwed up. Heads are rolling as
Yes.
should be.
Yes, and before the Sarah Palin and the Fox ilk came out and started talking about this, this was from both sides. This was saying, hey, this should be investigated. This is not right. This should, it was a bipartisan situation. And now the GOP are like, oh, Obama's all bad because the Secret Service screwed up with the hooker. And it's like, oh, I just want to I get such a facepalm just listening to these people. Medusa, your thoughts?
Well, the GOP was been waiting around for something like this to happen. Ho hum. I'm with Dan again. I parked my car in his big garage. Greta Van Susteren and Sarah Palin. As soon as I read that the opinions sprouted from their mouths, it meant nothing to me.
Yeah.
Boys will be boys. I hate to say it, but it's still a man's world.
Yeah.
And if it is legal to hire prostitutes. Where were they? Were they in Colombia?
Yeah, I think they're in Colombia.
Yeah, well, it's legal to hire a hooker there, so they didn't break the law in Colombia.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I think that they were saying these people, their wives or whatever, got them in the doghouse and everything like that. Yeah.
Boys will be boys. That's what I have to say.
Boys will be boys, girls will be girls, and dogs will be dogs.
What?
So.
Maybe there was a
Except
female
for Lola.
Secret Service lady.
Yeah. and Palin is just a pig. So.
Let's not mince words here, Packard, please.
Yeah.
If you put lipstick on a pig, it's still a pig.
That's right.
She sure is.
Absolutely. Joe, your thoughts?
As far as I know, the Secret Service is not a political organization.
Yeah.
They're part of the Treasury, and they protect the president regardless of party.
Right.
So this should only reflect on the service. It has nothing to do with who is in office.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
It could have happened. It could have happened when George was in office. It could have happened when Bush was in, or Bush 1.0, Bush 2.0, Carter, Clinton. It could have happened on any one of those. They were probably going on the whole time.
Exactly.
Joe, your voice changed.
My voice? Well, the one agent, if he had only had $47 in his wallet and given it to her, this would never have made the news.
Yeah, we would have never known about it. It would have still been, it would have still been going on, and exactly, we wouldn't have known.
What do you get for $47 in Brazil?
I don't want to know. I really don't want to know.
Colombia, baby.
Was it Colombia?
Yeah.
Around the world, it was around the world three-way with a donkey and a camera crew. So I don't know. I'm just
And
It was the
little
Colombian donkey
cocaine.
show.
It's the Colombian Donkey Show. That's the next show we're coming up with next here on Packard Pokes At. No, just kidding.
It's a good
Totally
name for the
kidding.
show.
Totally kidding. Bring your own donkey. Well, before we get on to our next topic here, we got a little place for if you want to have put a commercial or an advertisement here on the show, just need to go to the address below here on the screen. There we go. Here it comes. It'll at packardpokesat@gmail.com. And if you have any questions and you would like to have your ad listed right here, it'll be so everybody can be seeing it. Well, so everyone can see it at here on the show. And if you want to see the show later, it'll be on YouTube at youtube.com/PackardPokesat. I've been having a little disagreement with YouTube on the last show, a little issue, trying to get it uploaded. Well, it's uploaded, just having some editing issues, but it will be up hopefully by the time next week sometime. And this one will be available sometime this next week as well. Anyway, let's get into our next topic. If I can find my iTunes, there we go. Yes, here we go.
Give me the news.
Now, if you've ever played video games and you grew up in the 80s like I did, if you ever played the game called Frogger, it's a story. It's a little base. It's a real basic story. You gotta start from one side of the road and you have to cross to the other side of the road. Now, these people. Now the game is 30 years old. These people with an advertising director, Tyler D'Angelo, and he took a webcam to record real-time traffic of New York's busy Fifth Avenue, and he put it in the code so it would correlate on the screen where the cars were at the time, and you would play against real-time traffic. This is kind of cool. It's using real-life, real-world situation with playing a video game. This is really cool. Dan, your thoughts?
Yeah, I think that was really neat. A neat way to update the game to bring real-life traffic-type situations into it. I remember playing Frogger in the arcades.
Oh, yeah.
And I've still got the original in an arcade emulator on my computer, so I can go back and relive, the halcyon days of youth.
Yes.
And we've come a long way in very cool video games, but it's nice to go back and see the roots of where it began.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It really is, and it's so cool the fact that they can integrate live with a video game, something that was pre-programmed. Medusa, your thoughts?
This is an interesting article. I'm not a gamer per se. I've never played Frogger, but
You
actually,
haven't?
I know
Well,
nothing.
gee whiz, I don't know about that. No.
I have not lived.
No, you have
I
not.
have not lived. It's on my bucket list
There you go.
to play Frogger. I'm sure it's cool and all that good stuff, but I'll have to agree with the boys on this one because I know nothing. If Bonnie was on here, she'd be saying the same thing.
Probably. I don't know. I don't know. Joe, your thoughts?
I'm coming over to Dan's house so I can play Frogger.
There you go.
I'm left out of all this stuff.
I love Frogger.
Well,
Frogger's awesome.
if you look on the internet for MAME, M-A-M-E, you can find it's machine arcade.
Multiple arcade machine emulator.
Yeah, that's it. Multiple arcade machine emulator. If you can get one for your system, and you can download, if you got to find them. It doesn't offer the codes for it, but if you find it, you put them in there, and you can play virtually any arcade game that is from the past. I mean, most of them anyway. And some of them you're from
Donkey
across
Kong?
seas. Donkey Kong, Crazy Climber, Time Pilot, all kinds of games. Really kind of cool stuff.
Oh,
I
that
knew a
would be
guy.
cool then.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Medusa.
No, that would be cool because the only games I played were Donkey Kong and the Goofy game.
Yeah.
And funny that you mentioned Time Pilot because I know a record store here in town. The guy that runs the place, very cool, and he's got an arcade original Time Pilot game set up in the store that's on free play. So you can just go in and play a couple games of Time Pilot. Very
that's
cool.
Yeah. There was this restaurant years ago. I used to quite literally across the street from it. After I moved away and I came back, they replaced it with a parking lot. But they had that game in there, and I was in there eating the food, and which was really good. And at least I thought so anyway. And they had that game in there, so I really got to know the game. Moving on to our next story here, a Virginia couple accidentally shot themselves. The husband and the wife got shot at a gun safety class. Of all things, out in Roanoke, Virginia, they were working. They were at the safety class, and the guy shot himself in the hand with a .45 caliber handgun, and the bullet also struck his wife, Michelle, in the leg as she was sitting beside him. Now, I love this story because it's so ironic. Everybody's in a lot of these states, because they've got the gun laws are changing because the GOP is pushing all these gun laws on us. And now people are going, oh, I'll take a gun course, I'll be all safe and everything. Well, not real safe if you're getting shot. If you're getting shot in the class, the safety class, don't buy a gun. Okay? I think that's pretty self-evident. Dan, your thoughts?
I really don't understand this. I mean, uh, you go to a firearm safety class, you really shouldn't have your weapon loaded.
Yeah.
Nah, if this is at a shooting range where you're doing live firing, one-on-one kind of stuff, fine. But, the guy's sitting there, I don't know, on, at a bench or whatever at the class, and
Yeah.
a regular classroom chair or whatever, shoots himself in the hand and his wife in the leg with a .45 caliber handgun. That's a little bit ridiculous. The guy definitely needs some remedial safety classes in general before he gets his hands on the gun.
I think he needs intelligence. I think they should give an intelligence test. Do I point loaded gun at hand with wife sitting next to me? Check yes or no. If you check yes, then you don't get a gun. But to see your thoughts.
I think he was trying to murder his wife by hitting her in the vena cava.
The vena cava?
Yes, the vena cava in your leg.
Ah.
Yes.
I thought that sounded like a dessert. I didn't know if she was, never mind. Go ahead.
No, I don't think she was a dish at all. And the instructor was not even in the room. So you leave a bunch of people with loaded guns alone in the room. What do you think is going to happen?
Yeah.
Somebody's going to shoot themselves and their wife. It's absolutely absurd.
Yeah.
I mean,
at least no one
it's
died.
not even present. They should be in a regular gun shooting setting, like you said, with a one-on-one student and teacher. That's the way it should be done.
Yes.
I don't know what they were thinking in Virginia when they were doing this. It's absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, it is. It really is.
That's why I think it was murder.
Well, no one died, so.
Darn it.
This time. Joe, your thoughts?
Time.
This gun safety class was held in a private home. In reference to the story from last week, if this was Arizona, they'd be held at the library.
I'm keeping my tale of two cities next to me from now on when I go to the library.
Well, War and Peace, like you said, is so thick it's bulletproof.
Yeah, almost. Yeah, it's either that or the other one. I don't remember which one is thicker, but they're, from what I understand, they're both pretty thick. But yeah, keep a thick book next to you, and unless you get one of those armor-piercing ones, then all bets are off. Well, let's get into our next topic. Yeah. Now, usually we don't have a whole lot of good things to say about religion on this show, and I still hold that tenet, as it were. However, this one gentleman, a senior bishop, has accused the Church of England of making a disastrous error in its opposition to same-sex marriage. He is Archbishop of York, Dr. John we're going to probably murder this, Sentamu, Sentamu, Sentamudi, I don't know. Anyway, he's basically telling the Catholic Church, hey, telling people of the same gender that they can't get married is like saying, hey, that's like saying that slavery was still acceptable because it was supposedly God-given. I mean, this religion in general, I don't agree with. This guy, he's doing the right thing, as far as, from at least what I can see in the article. He's telling the Catholic Church, hey, back off. People have human rights. They should be able to do what they want. If a man loves a man, a woman loves a woman, or a man loves a woman, they should all get married. Personally, I don't agree with marriage. I think it's an institution. If you want to get married, you should be in an institution. No, just kidding. I'm sorry, I'm a divorced man. I have my opinions on marriage. Dan, your thoughts?
Yeah, there are a lot of how do I want to say? A lot of church members think that there's nothing wrong with same-sex marriage.
Mhm.
It's nice to have the Right Reverend Holtham come out and say that, you know, the ultra-conservative bishops that are calling this, basically calling homosexuality a crime against nature in itself.
Yeah.
I'm glad that Bishop Holtham is on the right side of things.
Yes.
It's ridiculous, and like he said, it's that apartheid in South Africa was seen as being, you know, supported biblically
God
by
given.
the Dutch Reformed Church.
Yeah.
They can use the words and phrases from their Bible to support just about anything if you want to, and to do it to support the continued you know, battle against people for what they are is ridiculous.
Yeah.
And you know, there are more people coming around to see that as fact.
Yes, absolutely. And a lot of younger kids nowadays, they're even the ones that are in a lot of them that are in religion, or because they're probably into kicking and screaming, dragged into it. A lot of them are saying, "Hey, you know," and some of these are actually, some of them are Republicans. They say, I don't see any problem with gay marriage. I mean, what is your problem with it? I mean, just because you guys didn't like it, doesn't mean there's anything wrong with it. Just you guys just need to, like, grow up or something. This is their attitude now. I mean, and I commend them on that. Medusa, your thoughts?
Well, this is an issue. We're flogging a dead horse here because I agree with you and I agree with Dan that, this is an issue where most people are fine with people getting married that are the same sex.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, let them go through a divorce if they would like to. I'm all for that. I
Sure.
went through a divorce. I'm not for marriage, but I'm glad to see that Bishop Holman did step up to the plate
Yeah.
to support this
Yeah.
and was very vocal about it, because I think that it's not going to change at all unless bishops come forward and other members of the church itself and support it from the inside out, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah. Oh, I understand what you're saying. You're just
Yeah.
waiting for everybody, from the ones that are the dissenters in the group, say, "Hey, you guys, you're making a mistake here. You guys should."
Right.
You got
They're
to think of
speaking
the
to
revenue that they're going to draw in, because some of these people want to get married in church because they are religious. Why, I don't know, but that's
Really, but if that's what floats their boat,
right.
let them do it.
Sure. Yeah, think of how
I'm
much
not.
more money the churches will get. Not that I'm condoning that, but
No, but that's what God wants. He wants money.
yeah, that's right. He can do all this stuff, just can't handle money. Thank you, George Carlin.
You took the words right out of my mouth, Packard.
Thank
That
you.
was a classic.
Thank you. Joe, your thoughts?
Reverend Holtham seems to be a lone progressive voice in his church community, and he's absolutely correct that modern church homophobia does create a moral gap for the church, and people can see that. However, this is also just another example of religion playing catch-up in a world where the trend seems to be that religion is becoming increasingly irrelevant.
Yes, absolutely. Religion is becoming irrelevant, just like we did that story last week on how religion is becoming more irrelevant in Australia. And I look forward to the day when they're gonna, the when the religion, you'll say religion? What's that? Wasn't that some kind of, I don't know, secret sauce on a burger or something? I don't know what it is. What is this religion stuff you're talking about? But
you know what's... Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
You know what's interesting about this story is it's taking place in the Church of England, which is a state-controlled church.
Mm-hmm.
So their government is debating whether or not they should allow this or not. Over there, the Catholic churches are handing out leaflets to their people, telling them to contact their lawmakers to oppose this.
Yeah.
So the Catholic Church is trying to influence the lawmakers who control the Church of England.
Yeah. Well, I think because they're like you said, that they're the state there, as it were, the political state allows churches to intermix with all that stuff. They could have a fair shot at it, having that stopped if they get their way. If they get their way, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, Let's get on to our next story here. A self-proclaimed god torches himself outside of Moscow. He's a Jehovah's Witness. He proclaimed himself as God, set himself on fire on Monday in the Moscow region. The local police said he's in the village of how are we gonna kill this one? Nakaheba Bingo Bingo hack without the GS with Bingo 33 Nakabino for everybody.
There we go.
That's a new taco dip. No, just kidding. Sorry. He's outside of Moscow. He bought fuel, poured it over himself, and set himself on blaze. The poor guy. He's got over 70% of his body's on fire. Apparently, he's 43 years old. And he's a Jehovah's Witness, and why I don't understand why he thought he was God. The police are looking into his attempted suicide, and the funniest thing of this whole story, that there's one comment, and it's from a Jehovah's Witness. It says, "I can't imagine a more erroneously false story. You should check your facts with the." I won't read the website because I don't want to give them any credit, but it was a Jehovah's Witness website, and it's like, yeah, like the religious site is going to tell the truth about an incident regarding one of their members. Sure, they will. Can you say cover up? Yeah. Dan, your thoughts?
Well, they would just say that, well, he wasn't a real Jehovah's Witness then.
Exactly.
That's pretty much. But this guy was obviously not quite right in the head at the time.
Yeah.
I don't know if he was, depressed, schizophrenic, whatever, and chose a particularly flashy way to try and take himself out of this world.
Yeah.
I don't know that, with burns like that, generally, if you're burned over more than 50% of your body, you really don't survive in most cases.
Yeah.
And this guy is probably not going to be in very good shape, even if he does survive.
Yeah.
The odd thing is, the Jehovah's Witnesses themselves are banned in a lot of places.
Yes.
Kind of like Scientology is.
Mm-hmm.
And it comes down to, how do you define what is really a religion and what is not?
Yeah. Well, it's all made up anyway, but
there's really no good rules to go by. But the difference between a cult and a religion is political power and money.
Yes, that is a big part of it. Apparently, and back in 2004, Russian capital said that they couldn't have it, but a European Court of Human Rights declared the decision illegal in 2011. So they're allowing them to have their religion in that country. I mean, I think they had it right the first time not to let them in there, but I don't know if I would call it a human right, because it's basically religion stomps on the rights of people all the time, and I don't see why they don't see that. But that's me. Medusa, your thoughts?
No, I can't see how this is a human rights issue. I mean, obviously this man, and I'm not being funny when I say this, had a god complex, which would probably peg him as a schizophrenic paranoid, which is very sad. He's mentally ill,
Yeah.
I just hope that he would have available to him that new technology where they spray skin on you.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but that's not going to happen to him because he's in Russia.
Yeah.
Bummer, dude.
Oh, you've ever seen the hospitals over in Russia? I've seen photographs.
Yeah.
You look at a hospital here from the 1910s, 1920s. You'll see a hospital today, what a hospital looks like today in Russia.
It's not cushy there.
No. Definitely not.
Their toilet paper's like sandpaper. No.
Yeah. Rough and tough and don't take from anybody.
All I have to say about this guy, I don't know what his name is, but Das Vidanya.
Yeah.
I don't even know what that means, but I think it's something good.
Das Vidanya.
Das Vidanya.
Das Vidanya.
I think that's a greedy. I think that means hello. Or goodbye. It's either hello or goodbye. I forget what.
Vodka.
It's goodbye, but it's kind of like the German Auf Wiedersehen. It's
So I'm never gonna see you
until
again.
until we see each other again.
Ah, okay.
Never.
Yeah, well, that'll be never because once you're dead, that's it. Joe, your thoughts?
Perhaps this guy was testing his hypothesis. If
Would-
he was uninjured by flaming fuel, he might have godlike powers.
Now that's an interesting thought.
And now he knows.
Now he knows. I am God. Watch me walk around with flame on me.
Ouch.
Ouch. I think this hurts. I think I made a mistake.
I wanted to touch on something Dan mentioned. He
Sure.
said that Jehovah's Witnesses are outlawed in countries all around the world.
Yeah, a lot of countries, Saudi Arabia, China, North Korea, Uzbekistan, Turkmenistan.
What I thought was interesting is one of the countries it's outlawed in is Iraq.
Yes.
And how many of our service people just died in that country to make sure that they are free,
Mm-hmm.
and yet they can decide which religions are not allowed.
Oh yeah, this is back in the before the pre-Gulf War, not pre-Gulf War, but when we first went over there, they had to hide the United States people over there because the American flag was offensive to them. We're over there trying to save their country. This is when Hussein was still alive, and he was over there. No, that was in Kuwait. Well, it's in the general area. They were over there trying to save their country, and they couldn't had the American flag on their shirts anywhere. So basically, a lot of them were doing where they're putting it inside their hats. Because I saw this news report, this guy's like, "Oh, where's your American flag?" He tipped his hat and said, "There it is." Because the red, white, and blue is offensive to these people. So I don't see when it comes to religion, that's the same kind of situation. It would be offensive to them because they're most predominantly Muslim over there. So, and I think that they're not, because Jehovah's Witnesses are the kind of people they go around door knocking, and they're trying to promote the religion, and they're not allowed to. Yeah, they're not allowed to.
That's why it's outlawed.
Yeah, that's why it's outlawed. Yeah, because you're not allowed to promote religion over in other countries. As we were talking about several shows back, that if you're
That's why we're a nut magnet in America.
yeah, absolutely. We got a lot of crazies out here too.
Mhm.
But anyway, Joe, you just went, didn't you?
Yes.
Okay, very good. I lost track. We were getting so good into this that I was just kind of lost track. Let's get into our funny tweet for this evening. Our funny tweet comes from Godless Savage. That's GODLESS_SAVAGE. And he says, "I am not old. I am a time traveler from the past."
Good for him.
That's a good one.
Yes, it is.
That is good.
Dan, your thoughts?
Yeah, that's a very good way to look at it. It's kind of like we're all dying. It's just some of us are doing it more quickly than others.
That too. That too. Medusa, your thoughts?
I forgot we had to comment on this. No, I'm just now following him. His tweets are great.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got some nice tweets. Joe, your thoughts?
I'm with Medusa. Godless Savage is awesome.
Yes.
I've been following him for a while, and he's got some really good stuff.
Oh yeah, absolutely. He's got some good tweets out there. All right, let's get into our shout out for this evening.
Hey, you guys!
Our shout out this evening comes from Dan, and he has Crommunist. That's CROMMUNIST. Dan, could you tell us a little about Cromulist?
Yeah, Crommunist is up in Vancouver, and he blogs over at freethoughtblogs.com. He has the Crommunist Manifesto there. He's a scientist, a musician, a skeptic, and he covers a lot in his blog about race issues and racism as it is applied to the skeptic community and critical thinking about race issues. Very good blog, very cool tweets from him, and even a little bit of him rapping in one of his latest posts in a video.
That's kind of cool. Sounds like a good guy. We should,
Oh yeah.
So if you're on Twitter, and if you're not, why aren't you? Give him a follow. That's at I lost it. I've just changed my page here. If you're on Twitter, give him a follow. That's CROMMUNIST. All right, let's get into our question of the week.
Excuse me. I have a question. I have a question. I have a question, sir. What are you doing? I'm asking you a question.
Our question from last week was, if you could leave advice for the next generation using only one word, what would that word be? What would that word of wisdom would you pass on? And we had several reply. We had let's see here. We had one reply from Crystal Says So. She says, my answer, that's easy. Love. Aww.
Aww. I
Go,
expect
Crystal.
that from
Go,
her.
Crystal. I'd really like to keep getting some more answers in from everybody. If they could just, just drop us the line here. But
Mine is run.
Run.
Run fast.
If you get a chance to hear mine from last week, it was floss, and everybody cracked up.
I hate to floss. Anti-flossing here.
Our question for this week is, what would be the first sentence of your autobiography be? Joe, Dan, what would the first sentence of your autobiography be?
It was a dark and stormy night.
You can't do that. That's been done before.
I think that's been done. I don't know if
it
you used
has.
that one.
Day one, still tired from the move.
There you go. I've had days like that. Medusa, what would your first sentence of your autobiography be?
And Yaya told me we had to cook 20 more pounds of spinach.
What's that? You kind of broke
and
up.
Yaya told me we'd have to cook 20 more pounds of spinach.
Oh, jeez.
That's a lot of spinach.
That's a lot of spinach.
Well,
I
if you
am
want to
that
make
I am, and that's all that I am.
Well, that's
she had Popeye over.
The Greek pie.
Oh, it's a pie.
Yeah.
I thought maybe you were just having Popeye over for dinner.
No, it's a big Greek pie made with phyllo and feta and butter and dill and, minced onions in it. It's
yes.
wonderful stuff, but you have to clean the spinach. It's very complicated to make. So that would be it. Yeah, I wants me to cook 20 or more pounds of spinach.
Yeah.
Ouch.
I don't know. I'm not really big up on spinach. It's kind of icky.
Ooh.
You
Good
like
stuff.
it. You would eat
Good
it.
stuff.
People that hate spinach, they like it.
Yeah, I myself, I kind of like, the only thing that's green that I like, it's green beans. That's it.
It doesn't even look green by the time we're done with it, honey.
Oh,
Don't worry about it.
I don't think.
And with the feta, oh man, out of this world.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm not sure.
Clarified butter. Oh God.
Yeah. Well, you're making me.
Ooh.
Okay, now you gotta stop. You're making me hungry. Joe, what would the first sentence of your autobiography be?
I woke up one morning to the knock, knock, knocking of Jehovah's Witnesses at my door.
He
oh,
wants
lovely.
Bad. Don't self-emulate on us now, Joe.
I don't think he was worried about Joe self-emulating. It's the people knocking at his door. For mine, the first sentence of my autobiography would be, I woke up one morning and I forgot where I was. I woke up the morning and I didn't know if I was coming or going.
That sounds so Packard. I like that.
Definitely. All right. Well, if we finally get to the end of the show.
We did good.
Yes, we did good, despite all the errors, and the computers decided to crap out on me here at the last minute. But if you would like to donate to the show, keep the internet flowing, and keep the show going, go to the show at packardpokesat.wordpress.com. You can get all the show notes there, and you can also, there's a donation button there. Please hit the donation button, please. I'm going to bring up the Trayvon Martin case here for just a second. The guy who murdered him, he got over $20,000 in donations, and he killed somebody. I haven't killed anybody, so let's use that money to go to something that's actually would be good for something. Donate it to the show here. Go to PackardPokes@WordPress.com. I promise I will not kill anybody, and you won't have to bail me out of jail. And
And if you really did it, you'll admit it.
and if I did it, I will admit it. Yes.
Very good. Thank you, Packard.
Sure. Well, if you want to reach us on Twitter, and we are all here on Twitter, you can find Dan on Twitter as
easy for me to say. Rel Unrelated. That's RELUNRELATED.
Right, and I think that's the first time I ever heard you ever mess up. And you can reach Medusa on Twitter
as Medusa Rants, MEDUSA_RANTZ.
Right, and you can find Joe on Twitter as
Joe Unseen, JOEUNSEEN.
Right, and you can find me on Twitter as Packard_Sonic. That's PACKARD_SONIC. You can find the show notes on Twitter as also. That's well, not the show notes, but you can at least find show announcements at PackardPokes all one word, no spaces on that. And like I said, you can find the show notes at PackardPokes@WordPress.com. I want to thank everybody for coming, and thank you again for coming. The chat rooms are now working properly again. They've done a lot of work on them the last 2 weeks, and if you had trouble getting into the show, we do the show live Friday nights at 9 p.m. Central Daylight Time or 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Just come into
7 o'clock California time.
7 o'clock California time. And go to justin.tv/PackardPokes, and if you don't have an account and you would like to chat with us, the accounts are free. Just sign right up, and you can get in there. You can chat with everybody, and we have a good time, and it's just a fun show. Well, thanks, everybody, for coming. This has been Packard Pokes, and we just poked at your news.
And that's a wrap.